and we will get started. So again, welcome in everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. So we will have 2 pre-recorded presentations for this year, and they will also be uploaded to our YouTube channel shortly after the presentation today. So first up, we have Asma, and she was a student at Wayne State University. So we will go ahead and start off with her presentation.
Hello, so my name is Asma Ahmed, and I am one of the administrative interns here at HAND in the winter 2023 semester. In this presentation, I'm going to go over some of the projects I've worked on throughout the semester, as well as some memorable moments that I've had. This first slide shows the semester timeline, which I will start by going over throughout each month that I've worked as an intern at HAND. Starting with January, I have listed the HAND fundraising because while I did work on some other stuff during this first month in preparation for the semester ahead, this was the first thing I kind of got to get involved in. At the very start of January, we had some informational meetings as well as an orientation for the new interns for this semester, and a lot of planning for my semester schedule for the upcoming months ahead. And the HAND fundraising meetings, while there were other meetings that were offered and some that I also participated in, this was the one I primarily went to and the one that I had the most interested in, because I wanted to get more of an insight into fundraising and just the things that are associated with it, and how the process is done when planning for a fundraiser. I got to participate and learn more about the past projects that HAND has held, and kind of help out with the planning process for any upcoming fundraising projects and ideas for future semesters. In February, I have the LMS support and Microsoft research listed. The LMS support was the first assignment that I got to work on. I had to watch some videos and I got to work on various activities that kind of gave me more background information on the company. And the next assignment that I got to work on was the Microsoft research, which consisted of me researching various Microsoft apps and just the kind of things that were associated with it and what they consisted of. In March, I have listed the virtual picture day research as well as the March workflow. The picture day research had me find out ways to figure out ways for staff members to take pictures remotely, and not just take these pictures, but also finding a way to kind of make these photos very cohesive that kind of displays the organization's ideas and a way for them to look as organized and representative of the organization as much as possible. In the case of, putting it on a web page or on other social media platforms. The next assignment that I worked on for that month was the March workflow. I had to find different methods of inventory tracking and systems for making merch that different companies and organizations do, and just kind of how each of these organizations do it differently, and just kind of how the process is done from start to finish when creating merch. And in April, which is the month we're currently in, I have the staff directory research listed here. For this assignment, I had to look for ways that nonprofits present their directories and the different methods used, because for like each of these organizations, they have different methods in which they decide to kind of display information about like staff members and just kind of different ways to reach out to them with their contact information provided on the website. For this slide, I decided to display 3 of the assignments I worked on and just highlight them because while I did work on other stuff throughout the semester, these were kind of the ones that I wanted to highlight. Starting with the Microsoft Apps research, the Standardized Virtual Picture Day assignment, and the Staff Directory research. The Microsoft Apps research, while it wasn't the first assignment that I worked on, this was the first one that I had to prepare myself. So I felt that it was fitting to include on the slide. I had to gather information about all of these Microsoft softwares and put them into a chart with information about what the app could be used for, as well as the features that are involved in the app itself, some similar platforms that could be used instead of these apps, and just kind of some interesting facts about the app itself and just things that should be noted about it. For the Virtual Picture Day assignment, this was probably the one that I had the most fun finding out information for. I found like different programs that allowed for virtual photo shoots to be done remotely. And each of these sites I found had very unique ways in which it's done, whether it was very particular to a specific event or just in the way that different staff members could collaborate on how the photos are done and give feedback to one another, and just the different price options that were offered. There were definitely a lot of flexibility from more affordable options to obviously more expensive options, depending on the event and the scenario in which these photos would be taken for. And lastly, the staff director research. This is the most recent assignment that I got to work on. And I got some insight into the process that is done when displaying information for a staff directory and like the ins and outs that are included for contact information. Some sites had their emails listed, some had their LinkedIn page on there. So there were definitely different things that are included. Some had more ways to contact staff members, while others were very specific to just one form of contact information on there. For my most memorable moments, I would say was the LMS assignment and the fundraising committee meetings. For the fundraising meetings, I got to kind of witness how these different collaborations are done, whether it's collaborations with people within the company in hand itself, or kind of collaborations that could be done with other people outside of hand. And some of the previous projects that were done in the past, like the Dine and Donate projects, and just formulating different ideas for new projects to raise awareness and raise money for people that are homeless, and just kind of what goes into planning these events. You know, there are a lot of factors to be taken into consideration, such as the time it takes to be done, how much money it would take, sponsorships, etc. There's a lot that needs to be taken into consideration. And, you know, it takes a lot of work, and seeing how hand handles these things was very informative, and I enjoyed being part of these meetings each week. The LMS assignment, you know, it was my first project that I got to work on as an intern this semester, and I got a lot of background information on the company, and I enjoyed the different projects that focused on policies and fostering workplace diversity. And I just found the entire website very easy to use. The dashboard was very user-friendly, and I did run into some issues when completing some of the assignments, but I got a lot of help with these problems, and they were resolved very quickly. So these were definitely the ones that I feel like stuck out to me the most throughout the semester. And for the total hours that I did this semester at hand, I did 93 hours in total, which I'm very happy about. I went just a little over my goal for this semester, and I enjoyed all the work that I was able to contribute. In conclusion, I am very appreciative of the opportunity I've been given as an intern at hand this semester, and I would like to spread some gratitude and thanks to everyone involved in making this possible, specifically to Tori for constantly reaching out to me and helping me whenever I needed some guidance and when completing certain assignments. And I definitely enjoyed our one-on-one meetings each week. It truly has been a pleasure working with you. To Kimberly for also being very helpful when I had questions about anything through email, and just for all the staff members, just for being very kind and welcoming to all the interns this semester and treating us as one of your own. I couldn't have asked for a better place to work with for my internship this semester. Thank you very much.
All right, so that was Asma's presentation. And I see we had a couple of new members join, so thank you so much for joining us today. We have one more pre-recorded presentation, so I will go ahead and bring that up. And yeah, thank you so much to Asma. I will definitely elevate any comments to her. So feel free to put some comments in the chat. And next up, we have Ebony. So I will go ahead and start Ebony's presentation. And then we will move into our live presentations afterwards.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ebony Williams. I was one of Han's interns for this semester, and I'll be presenting on what I have accomplished during my internship. So my semester timeline is going to focus on social media, IT consultant scoring rubric, the moving up voucher meeting minutes, transitioning to my most memorable moment, total hours completed, and concluding with a thank you slide, and as well as my contact information. So for the semester timeline, January was mostly the orientation week. February is where I did my first social media post on Black History Month. March is the IT consultant scoring rubric draft I did with the Women's History Month post, as well as assisting with the YHDP celebration party planning. April, I did the moving up voucher meeting minutes, as well as the street outreach social media post. So here's like clips of my social media postings I've did. So here's the Black History Month, the International Women's Day, as well as the Women's History Month post that I did towards the end of the month. That kind of gives you ways to how we can celebrate and uplift women, as well as donate to local women businesses and highlighting and donating to women-led organizations within the Detroit COC. So Han was in need of IT services to support their growing team of 31 remote members and to maintain IT services at their Detroit office. So my task was to first create a draft of the scoring rubric, and with the collaboration of the other intern, Elijah, who made great adjustments to that same rubric. So just wanted to share in this next slide here, my IT scoring rubric. So kind of like the first draft before any adjustments was made, to assist with finding an appropriate IT consultant. And moving up to the moving up voucher meeting minutes. So I participated in that meeting, and my task was to take meeting minutes, and I have my meeting minutes right here. And that kind of gives me a good way to get to my most memorable moment. So my most memorable moment was the moving up voucher meeting. It gave me a lot of insights from the permanent supportive housing provider perspective, and be able to learn the complex process with vouchers and the various policies and procedures involved, as well as working on social media. It was totally new, and it was a great way to be creative with the engagement of posts, which was definitely fun. Total hours worked was 26.3 hours. And here is my thank you slide. Once again, my name is Ebony Williams. Have my email here, my LinkedIn, and shout out to Tori for helping me with this QR code. So you can scan the QR code, takes you right to my LinkedIn profile. And thank you again.
All right, so that was Ebony Williams. I'll leave her QR code for a moment on the screen. We had a super great class this semester, so I'm really proud of everyone's work. Even though Ebony only had 26 hours, she was still able to accomplish quite a lot. So love that. And next up, we have Ashley Lorraine. She actually got COVID. So I'll be kind of going over her slides a bit, and then I will have her pre-recorded presentation on our YouTube channel for everyone's review. So I will go ahead and transition. All right. So Ashley actually had this was her second internship program with HAN. So she actually got a bit of a comparative journey. So I will go ahead and go over her slides now. Let me see here. All right. So here is her title page, winter spring semester 2023, of course. For her semester timeline, she was able to help immensely with the CAM transition, also YHDP party planning in January. In February, went to LMS support, which is our learning management system. And she also did the February bulletin board. And then for March, she helped work on the workers' wellness chat, as well as the April bulletin board. And of course, some more CAM things. And then she finished off in April with a LGBTQ plus fact sheet. So here's a clip of her monthly bulletins. In April, she actually collabed with Elijah. So you'll hear a little bit more about that during Elijah's presentation. And then this is just a little bit of the work behind some of the party planning for our YHDP celebration event that is coming soon. And then, of course, the CAM transition. So she actually was able to do some workshop meeting minutes that are available on our website for the CAM transition, and just also preparing some supplemental things that will be released in the upcoming weeks. Her most memorable moment was the workers' wellness chat, also a fun project we worked on this semester, just trying to promote workers' wellness and making sure that all of our HAN staff members stay well in all of the work that we do. So in total, she completed 255 hours. And she actually did a little comparison from her semester. So I'll just read it verbatim. My first semester at HAN, I had no idea what I was walking into. I only had retail experience, and I was afraid I was going to be the oddball that stuck out from the rest of the interns. The staff took us in with open arms, and I was able to grow and learn so much in a short period of time. So then her second semester at HAN, she noticed how much she had grown as a person, not only in the workplace, but in her personal life as well. She noticed she was able to lead more in projects, and became more well-rounded as an individual, and even able to take on a heavier course load this semester. So that was a rundown of Ashley's presentation. Again, she got COVID, unfortunately, so she will have the chance to go ahead and upload her presentation from her own narrative on our YouTube channel. So yeah, that is Ashley's presentation. Yes, definitely get well soon for Ashley. Yeah, and I think there was something with the renaming. On my end, I have like 3 Kimberlys. So that's, you know, a little antidote for that. But yes, thank you so much, Ashley. I know she'll be watching the recording. And she's had 2 semesters, so she really kind of became a part of the team. So wonderful to have her again this semester. All right, so next up, we have Elijah Olson for his presentation. So I will go ahead and let Elijah steal the screen and present.
Hi, thanks so much, Tori. Hi, everyone. I'm Elijah. This is what I look like in case you haven't seen me before. I know I've done a lot of remote work, so yeah, it's good to see y'all. I will share my screen here so we can see my presentation for you. All right. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Cool. All right. So I began my internship in January, finishing it up now in April. And in January, I mostly focused on onboarding things and also LMS things. So it was a new experience for me. And it was really exciting to just dive straight into like training because I'd never been in this sort of field before, working in public service with nonprofit. So I was really excited to do that. And my first real project was the partnership intake form, which kind of evolved throughout the the winter here, as you'll see later. But in February, I started working on some scopes of work, some requests for qualifications regarding IT providers, HR positions, and I got introduced to different committees as well, including the fundraising committee and newsletter committee. So it was a riot each week being able to join those. So I enjoyed my time there. In March, I started to dive a lot into research. So things like policies, procedures, starting to grade IT proposals as we developed those and as proposals came in. I also started hosting partnership meetings, the fruit of the partnership intake form. It was a really exciting experience getting to meet with people, and I'll talk about that later as well. It's one of my highlighted projects, as well as starting to pioneer the workers' wellness chat with Ashley. In April, just this past 2 weeks, I've started working with the CAM Shelter Access Survey with Violet and with Katie. So those were really exciting things, as well as starting to conduct more interviews with our IT proposal folks that we started to see in person. Well, digitally, but we actually get to see them. And I finally started working on people with lived experience of homelessness policy research and how to compensate them equitably in our system. So my top 3 projects I'll talk about will be those partnership surveys and partnership meetings. So I'll call them coordinating new partnerships, and there will be plenty to hear about that. With the second project I'll talk about will be how I went about appraising IT consultant proposals and the team I got to work with from the beginning with developing research into the final stages of interviewing. And finally, the last project I'll highlight is the Workers Wellness Chat and how I got to co-launch that with Ashley and the capacity building team. So when it comes to coordinating new partnerships, I did have the opportunity to engage interested parties in conversations through the partnership intake form and eventually through meetings with them. It started with the form, which was a different design process that I worked through with Tori on how to reach potential partners and what people might be interested in as far as partnerships with HAND and with the Detroit COC. That transitioned into developing partnership portfolios where I conducted some online research to find out more about their organization and to integrate the information they had shared with us in their intake form with the information available on the web. And using that, I eventually was able to reach out with them and conduct partnership meetings where we talked about how they might want to contribute to HAND and contribute to the Detroit COC, and in return, how we might support their organization and work together. The next project is the one relating to IT consultant proposals. And it started with research, as everything does, I'm finding out. So it started with a development of a data matrix. That's a little orange bordered matrix you can see in the bottom right corner of the screen. I started doing some research on different firms that are local or that might not be local. And then that led into development of the scope of work with a team of folks here at HAND. And so once the scope of work was developed, we're able to put out a request for qualifications and eventually receive those IT proposals and host interviews with those people who filled them out or who we wanted to host interviews with. The Workers Wellness Chat was the last project I'm going to tell you about, and it was one of the last projects I worked on fully here at HAND. You can see the graphic on the left side is similar to the one that that Ashley had in her presentation. It's because we worked on it together. It started off with monthly bulletins, the March bulletin, April bulletin, and subsequent bulletins will be released there. So you can find those in the Workers Wellness Chat from here on out. And we also developed a content release schedule together to kind of structure and detail how we want to move forward with that, and a little bit for posterity since we won't be around forever. So anybody who picks that up in the future will have something to work off of. Then we finally launched it. I'm excited to, well, I guess I won't see where it goes, but I'm excited for everybody who does. So I hope that that's something that people can use moving forward and enjoy. I have to say one of my favorite memories at HAND was doing the partnership outreach and engagement meetings. Meeting with two different organizations, setting up meetings in Calendly, which I hadn't used before, to scheduling these meetings, communicating via email, and eventually talking over Zoom. I was able to meet with representatives from Unite Us, specifically their Michigan faction, and with representatives from Civic Roundtable. So both these organizations were incredibly fun to communicate with. Their people were very amicable, and it was generally a good time getting to hear about the things that they're interested in the things that they wanted to bring to the table. It felt like my first time like being kicked out of the nest, so to say, where I was allowed to host these meetings on my own and represent HAND. So that felt like a big responsibility, but also it was very exciting that I had the chance to represent the organization and really share what its vision was. So that was an exciting experience for me. For the semester, I contributed 220 hours to HAND, and I'm really excited for for each hour I got to spend. So I enjoyed that time. And I will conclude with a thank you to everyone I got to meet. It was a pleasure working with all of you. I can honestly say that. And it was very appreciated how gracious people were with me as I was being introduced to this kind of work and becoming parts of different teams, and sometimes popping into one team then popping into another one because I was all over the place. I will give a special thank you to Tori because you're my manager, my supervisor. I appreciated your patience with me, especially as we worked through things and you dealt with lots of follow-up questions over Teams. So I appreciate you for that, and I want to thank you for all your guidance and grace during this time. And this is my resume. I don't know. I think I'm supposed to include this at the end because you might be interested. You can go ahead and scan that QR if you want. It'll bring you to a little digital portfolio that I've created, and I showcases some of the things I've worked on in the past. But if you have any questions, feel free to message me. There's my email. You can text me. There's my phone number. Yeah, just let me know. It's been a pleasure, everyone. Thank you.
Awesome job, Elijah. Thank you so much for your presentation and your hard work throughout the semester. It was really a pleasure working with you. And we got a lot of feedback in the chat. Super amazing job. And I'll give a little moment for final remarks in the chat as Frankie, last but not least, will prepare to share their screen for their presentation.
Okay, hi guys, I know you haven't seen me before. I'm Frankie. I'm gonna share my screen. Give me 1 second.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Tori. Okay, so can you all, oh, you can't see that, perfect. Okay, so let's start at the beginning, if it'll let me, perfect. So this is my hand recap for my internship. I learned a lot. I'm very thankful for y'all. So this is my timeline. I started orientation week in January. In February, Tori had tasked me with working on an internship survey to see where interns could fit in within like the hand organization and what tasks interns could complete that would be most useful for hand staff. In February to April, I worked on grants, which was a whole new task for me. I didn't realize how much work went into grants. So that was, I feel like, an eye opener. And then from February to April, I worked on social media and a newsletter, which was my favorite. So I learned a lot during my orientation week. I learned about hand, who's CAM, what is the transition, and how just gargantuan that project was, and the rules and regulations at hand. This is my internship survey I completed. Oh, no. Yep. So this is the internship survey I completed in February, just to see where, maybe not, oh, there it goes, where interns could fit in the hand organization. Lovely. So I was documenting and collecting data. I developed these questions along with the help of Tori. So that was one of my favorite things to do because I had never really developed a survey before. And it actually really assisted me in other aspects of my life in academia because I was developing surveys in another class, so it paired well. And then, sorry guys. So I learned a lot from the survey internship, the survey internship project, designing and writing a survey, data collection, which is something I told Tori I was interested in at the beginning. So I was really excited that I could really kind of flex and use and kind of do something I was interested in, drafting survey questions and then writing survey guidelines. And so the next thing I worked on was grants, and I feel like that was a whole other beast. I didn't realize how much work actually went into like finding grants, drafting applications, looking at applications, figuring out, like, I didn't realize how much actually data collection went into just simply applying for a grant. So I feel like that really taught me a lot, and it really gave me an appreciation for people who work in grants. So the efforts that I learned, the efforts and time kind of constraints and time consumption grants actually take, the grant writing process, and kind of how actually long and drawn out it can be, the process of writing grant proposals. And I really appreciated learning about that because that's something I feel like I can take forward into other aspects, other jobs, other, career choices in academia. And grant writing really taught me attention to detail because you really have to pay attention because there's so many grants and there's so many different guidelines for each different grant. I was also able to, like Elijah, work on social media and the newsletter, and that was my favorite because I like being creative. It taught me a lot about communication and digital and graphic design, and how to better interact with social media and how to break down kind of nuanced ideas so the public can better understand them. And of course, just researching into different aspects of homelessness, and kind of deepening my knowledge about, especially like the Detroit population of homelessness, which I didn't know a lot about. My most memorable moment was Kim and Tori had allowed me to create something, a media post and a newsletter kind of supplementary, I guess, supplementary design on harm reduction. Harm reduction is something I was really passionate about because it's something, before I left Canada, I worked in harm reduction. So it's something I know a lot about. It's something I'm passionate about. And I feel like it's something people often don't think about. So I was really excited to share my knowledge with people at hand, as well as just put it in the newsletter so people can be more aware of how to react when somebody is overdosing. And these are a couple of my sample works. So my most recent one was the benefits of nature on your mental health. I did a graphic on Michigan students and homelessness. And I did kind of a graphic on what is a COC, or the continuum of care, because a lot of folks don't necessarily know what that is. My total hours worked was 208 hours. And I just, again, as I end, I just want to thank everybody at hand who accepted the interns in as your own. You folks are really great, you really gracious. I really appreciate just feeling at home at hand, like coming to work every day and feeling like I have a place. So thank you to Tori for facilitating our internship and answering all questions, always being available when we need you. Also, thank you to Kim. I really appreciated working with you on social media and the newsletter, as well to everybody at hand. I really appreciate you folks, again, like just letting us jump in and participate in meetings and having input. It was really great. This is a really memorable experience.
Thank you so much. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying at the end.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. So awesome presentations this semester. I'm really happy with all the work that was produced, and really just the experience in general. It's always a growing experience for both me and the interns when we get new class in. So really appreciate all the hard work. So now we will do some breakout rooms. So each intern will have their slide I'm sorry, they'll be sharing their screen of their resume, and they'll have some conversation questions to kind of guide the dialogue. So I'll go ahead and open them, and you guys can bounce, but I'm pretty sure you can bounce between each room. There'll be 2. So I'll go ahead and open them. And so Elijah and Frankie will have their own rooms, and you can go ahead and join them. I'll be kind of flexing back and forth so that the conversation can keep flowing. And I will also stop the recording here. So thank you for everyone that participated and all the love in the chat. And we will see you next time for presentations. So you can go ahead into the breakout rooms, and then once you're done with that, you are free to go.